Quotes from the book. The first quote that I found to be pretty relevant to the world in which I work in, which is in education, states that, and there has certainly been no evidence that testing has made schools better. In fact, the constant argument of people who want more testing is that the quality of education is declining. That seems to be fairly true, particularly in the last 15 and 20 years, where now everything about the school, whether it's from the entire district, the state, down to the classroom, can only be summarized as being successful if we as a group or as a student demonstrate some success on a test, and that the individuals who want to portray a school as not being successful decide that the only way in which we can determine that is if we begin to test more. That's pretty true today. The next quote, but computers have no intelligence. They have information, but no insight. Memory, but no judgment. Again, as someone who's been in education for 20 years, who actually right now in my current job as a director of instructional technology, I understand the useful tool that computers have become in learning. However, one must always remember that at the end of the day, it's individuals who have insight on someone's learning and the world around them, and can be able to make good judgments about student learning and about how one can learn. The next quote, if we don't trust ourselves to learn, then we apply the official theory to ourselves with disastrous results. But if we identify with successful learners, then we have the best hope for becoming more efficient members of the learning club ourselves. I thought this really spoke to how, as I've seen students over the years, how they've gained confidence. Once they gain confidence, particularly if the confidence comes from surrounding themselves with people who are successful, they begin to move on. If they don't, what you see is that we are, as the author describes here, it seems to me that if we don't have that confidence in our own abilities to learn, that we will accept whatever mechanism there is to learning, whether it's memorizing facts in a book. The next two quotes, teachers shouldn't expect people outside the classroom to improve their working conditions for them. All the problems were created by people outside the classroom. Teachers must take charge of their own professional lives. The author in the last segment of the book really focuses on the important role that the teachers have, and that in changing the way in which education has transpired over the years. In fact, this last quote I thought was kind of to that point. Teachers may be so busy concentrating on what students fail to learn from a ritualistic classroom activities that they ignore what students are learning from their educational experience as a whole. I think this kind of summarized what the author was trying to point out with the classic view, is that students are always learning. They may not be learning what is put before them, but in that environment, they're learning something, particularly from those that are around them, and to some degree from that teacher. So I thought this was a quote that touched upon that as well. Questions to ponder. I have 5 questions to ponder I came up with. One, first question is it too late to put the genie, the official theory, back in the bottle? In other words, have we become so prescribed to this notion of learning that it may be hard? And the author focuses actually the last segment on how we go about doing that. But I just worry that it's become such an ingrained part of our educational environment. Can we move beyond it? And also, I asked the question is, how does the classic view of learning enable one to become a computer program, an electrician, a logistic manager for UPS, and so on? I know the author touched upon this a bit, but Obviously someone who would go into the field of electrician would have to be interested, and that's what he talked about in terms of the classic view. But also in that learning, it's important that there is some memorization of facts. Now, I just wonder if that how do we do that? How do we teach an electrician to be an electrician without having to memorize the facts as we do with the official theory of learning? The next question to ponder: how does one confront the entire industry of official theory of learning? It's a very powerful industry, and when I mean industry, I'm talking from everyone from school administrators all the way up to politicians to textbook writers, all of which have invested in the official theory of learning. How do we confront? I know that the author talks a lot about the teacher doing that, but at some point it's going to take individuals within the industry to begin to ask the question of, is this the right approach to learning? Which kind of goes into my next couple questions here. An entire generation or more that came to understand the world via the official theory of learning has put a man on the moon, brought the information age to my fingertips. So those individuals within the industry that I was discussing before with the previous question may ask, well, what's wrong with it again? In other words, having enjoyed the success that we have, particularly in this country over the last 100 years since we've adopted to the official theory, it creates a challenge when the response can be, well, we've been so much successful now. Why change? And part of that is my last question, is that why do parents, teachers, and educators allow for this style of learning, the official theory, to take place day in and day out? In other words, if we know, particularly, myself being a parent of a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I observed them over the years learn and how they learned, and I know that it really supports what the author was stating from the classic view. Why do we accept it? That was a question I thought to ponder. And the last segment, would I recommend this book to someone else in our program? Why or why not? I most definitely would recommend this book to individuals, not just in this program, but even ones that I work with, because for so many years, I'll have to say that I prescribe to the official theory of learning. And I can definitely say this book has given me reason to think about that notion. Thank you.